Okay, so what if the same company that broke Wall Street just made a move that could break the internet? GameStop, the original meme stock, just announced that it's adding Bitcoin to its corporate treasury. So now it's 100% confirmed, and it could be the beginning of a brand new era. Not just for Bitcoin, but for you as an investor. Because if this plays out the way that some people are saying it will, it could signal a shift in how corporations hold money and unlock a wave of new Bitcoin adoption that affects every portfolio in the world. So let me break down exactly what's happening, why GameStop did this, how it fits into the bigger picture with Tesla and MicroStrategy, and what it could mean for Bitcoin's price in the next few years of investing. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for GameStop. Now, on March 25th, GameStop announced they're officially adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, and that move is approved by their board. And this means they're now converting a portion of their corporate cash, which is usually sitting in either dollars or short-term investments that pay them a small interest, into Bitcoin and holding it as a treasury asset. Now, unfortunately, they didn't reveal the exact amount they'll be investing just yet, but GameStop has about $4.8 billion in cash. So even a small percentage could end up being hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin. And we actually do have a clue how much they might be considering. Michael Saylor's company Strategy tweeted that Mara might have some competition soon, and Mara holds 46,000 Bitcoin. That's worth about $4 billion. And here's the crazy part. They didn't even set a cap. They're open to accumulating more over time. And this decision was backed by their board, led by Ryan Cohen, who's been quietly signaling this move for months, including a tweet of him with Michael Saylor, whose company now holds the most amount of Bitcoin out of any company in the world. And it gets even better. This wasn't just GameStop doing this for fun. Strive Asset Management, who's a major shareholder in GameStop, wrote a letter publicly telling them to adopt Bitcoin, calling it an incredible opportunity to protect their treasury from inflation and build long-term shareholder value. So this wasn't random, it was very strategic. But now let's zoom out and ask the question, why are companies buying Bitcoin at all? And there's three main reasons. Number one is it's an inflation hedge. With central banks printing money, the value of cash is constantly going down. In fact, if you look at the true inflation data, you're gonna find that since 2020, not that long ago, $1 will now only buy you 74 cents worth of stuff. So it's not just people losing purchasing power at the grocery stores, it's also the corporations that hold cash as part of their reserves. So holding Bitcoin is like holding digital gold with a limited supply. Now, reason number two is long-term appreciation. Bitcoin has been the best performing asset of the past decade, even factoring in all the volatility. And companies want to make money not just by selling products, but by being good investors of their cash. And reason number three is signaling innovation. Because holding Bitcoin sends a message to the market that it's forward thinking, it's trying to understand where the world is going, and that they're not afraid to lead. And that helps boost stock prices, which makes shareholders happy. And it's not just a theory either. This is not the first time that this strategy has been used. Let's go back to August 2020. MicroStrategy, a business analytics company, became the first public company to go all in, and CEO Michael Saylor turned $250 million in corporate cash into Bitcoin and then just kept buying. Today, they own over 500,000 Bitcoin, representing 2.4% of all Bitcoin in existence, worth over $40 billion, and they just rebranded to Strategy to reflect that Bitcoin is the core of their business model. Then in 2021, Tesla made headlines when it bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And that alone pushed Bitcoin up 20% in just one day. And that made it mainstream. For a while, Tesla even accepted Bitcoin to buy Teslas. And then Square, now called Block, followed shortly after that, with CEO Jack Dorsey saying Bitcoin is the future of money. So the list kept growing. Coinbase, MassMutual, and dozens of other companies are quietly buying and stacking Bitcoin while the world debated if it was a bubble or not. Now in 2025, GameStop joins that list, And this time, they're doing it with better timing, more regulatory clarity, a community that's already proven it can move markets, and a president that just announced Bitcoin is part of the US strategic reserves. But now let's talk about what this actually means for the price, because the question is, does GameStop buying Bitcoin actually move the price? Now in the short term, not really. GameStop did go up about 15% this morning, but the famous Josh Mandel, who correctly predicted Bitcoin at 84K and that Bitcoin's gonna go to 444,000 this cycle, says he's actually shorting GameStop. So it's anyone's guess what's gonna happen in the short term. But long term, this is where it gets really interesting because Bitcoin has a fixed supply and corporate treasuries are massive. So if just 1% of the S&P 500, the stock market, adopts a Bitcoin treasury strategy, it would inject hundreds of billions of dollars into the asset, tightening supply, boosting demand, and pushing prices higher. But it also creates a higher low, a higher floor for Bitcoin with each and every cycle, because it has that many more new investors that want to buy it when they see it as an opportunity and the price dips. And it's not just about one company, it's about the message that this is becoming normalized. Just like ETFs and institutions are onboarding millions of new investors, companies stacking Bitcoin is another vertical. And here's the craziest part. When Tesla bought Bitcoin, they held it for months and it still affected the price. MicroStrategy said they're gonna hold and never sell. And that means the supply is effectively off the market. Michael Saylor himself says he plans to burn his own private keys to his own Bitcoin as a gift when he's gone. And less supply equals higher price potential. So the question now is, will other companies follow? And the answer is most likely. GameStop is not a financial company or even a crypto native company. They were a retail dinosaur that's reinventing itself. And if they can do it, what's gonna stop other companies from doing it? Companies like AMC, Chewy, Shopify, even Apple could be watching really closely right now, especially if GameStop's price reacts positively and their treasury actually grows in value. The biggest risk is fear, because most C-level executive people that run companies don't want to be the first to bet their company's money on Bitcoin, because if it goes down, jail. No, not really, but they might lose their job. And now though, the United States is gonna start buying soon, so they're not gonna be the first, they're not even gonna be the second, and the more that jump in, the safer it becomes. It's a classic S-curve of adoption, and we might just be right at that acceleration point. But now let me just tie it all together and let's bring it back to the investor that might be watching this very boring video that I put together last minute. So what happens to our portfolios? So Bitcoin is going mainstream, and the story has changed from what if it fails and is it a bubble to what if this becomes part of every major balance sheet on Earth. So the opportunity is still what people call asymmetric, meaning the risk to reward is still so imbalanced that it's in favor of at least having some than not having any at all. And if corporate adoption continues, I think we're still early. Bitcoin might already be close to 100K, but the road to 250 and 444 and 500 or even a million isn't that crazy in this context. Now for me personally, Bitcoin still represents between 25 to 30% of my net worth, depending on the day. And my logic is I'm younger and I can take the risk and the volatility, but that might not be true for everyone. I can make a separate video about that. But I do think that there is a risk. In the future, as more and more companies start to adopt this strategy, crypto-themed stocks will probably become the new altcoins. So just be careful when that happens and which companies you choose to invest in. But overall, this is history repeating itself. First it was gold, then it was cash, and now Bitcoin might be the next chapter in reserve assets, especially for my generation. So GameStop just made Bitcoin a boardroom asset, and it's no longer just retail versus Wall Street, it's Bitcoin on Wall Street, and that shift changes everything. And if you do decide to get some, This video is sponsored by yours truly. If you'd like to learn how to self-custody your Bitcoin and how to protect it, I have a step-by-step video guide that teaches you how to do exactly that. And as a thank you for making it this far into this unscheduled video that I was not planning on making, you can use coupon code Andrei40 to get an additional 40% off the training series. If you found this helpful, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to see you back here next week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.